think, let's say Brady does join another team and it's a losing team, would it affect Brady's legacy?
Sure, not in any drastic way, but of course, all of it is little pieces of evidence, one way or another, that either adds to your legacy or punches hole. There's no punching a hole in Brady's legacy, but when compared to other all-time greats or those who are sure to come, either adds or diminishes that legacy versus someone else's. And by the way, if anyone thinks, well, you're making too much of the comparison, and why can't you just appreciate the athletes? Sports is about establishing a hierarchy. That's why you play a game. Like on one level, you play to have fun, but at this level that I'm discussing, it is to find out who is better. That's why they're going to play the Super Bowl. Who's a better team? Not, you're entertained by it, but who's better? And we have these debates about who's the GOAT. We're establishing the hierarchy. Tom Brady's number one now, and I agree, he's the GOAT. I said that before he won his 5th and 6th. But it's not like there's no competition. Like Joe Montana won 4, was 4-0 in the Super Bowl, had 13 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, and when he went to Kansas City, got him to the AFC Championship game. If Tom Brady, for example, goes somewhere and they're terrible, then you say, well, wait a minute, how much of that is Belichick? Maybe more than we think. Now, look, he's at the age like when Jordan went to the Wizards. It doesn't really hurt him, right? I get it. It doesn't speak to his prime, but because Brady's peak is not why we put him number one, the way Jordan's was, because it's a lifetime achievement award type thing, then a bad ending could affect him differently than, say, someone like Jordan.
Well, thank you for enunciating my point. At the end there, when you talked about how it's not going to really affect his legacy, because it's not, Max Kellerman. And here's the reason why. Are you ready for this one, Max? Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Because he's 42. Age actually works in his favor. This is the cliff in reverse. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the deal, Max.
Gravy years.
Here's the deal. If he were 34 years of age, and let's say in the prime of his career, or kind of fading just a touch, and then he went to a team and it was losing, they're like, oh, that's you. It's you, man. But the reality of the situation is that that's not the case. He's 42 years of age, and the twilight years have arrived, basically. So nobody's going to judge him. We're looking at the New England Patriots and saying, you know he's 42 years old. Why don't you give him some help? You know he's 42 years of age. Why are you asking him to do all of this? Why you gave him Julian Edelman as a number one option? Why is James White your second leading receiver? That's what you're doing right now when you're looking at the New England Patriots, because you're saying, excuse me, forget what you see or even what you think he's capable of. By virtue of Father Time, him being 42 years of age, what the hell are you doing, Bill Belichick, asking him to do all of this? Help the brother out. That's what you're doing. If he's younger and you put more on his shoulders, he embraces it, but he's losing, he's held accountable. But because he's 42, and because he's already a 6-time champion, and because he's already proven what he could do in big moments or what have you, you're able to scale it back, look at him, and say, you know something? This ain't really on him. So to me, as far as I'm concerned,
this ain't
Tom
Brady
Brady's he's playing with house money.
This ain't really Brady anymore. This is what I refer to as the gravy years. What you do adds but doesn't take away.
He's already transcended the game, guys. And I think nothing he does now from this point is going to tarnish that. I feel like he was the best to do it after the 4th one. And some argued even after the 3rd Super Bowl. But after that 4th one, to me, it was like, okay, he's charting in territory that we haven't seen before. And then to get a 5th and a 6th, it was like, hold up. Okay, we got to put him in a different category. He goes up on a different type of Mount Rushmore when it comes to the football thing. And not just football in general, but then it comes to the quarterback thing, which is such a highly elevated position, in a position that's so poked and prodded and looked at in statistics. And we look at that position so, innately, and we look at it and we just think about it. So when you look at Tom Brady and you look at what he's accomplished thus far, anything he does now, if it's positive, if it's negative, if it's another year for his family to see him play football, this is just icing on the cake.
Yeah, I don't know that. After 4, I also put him number 1 because he was playing in more of a passing era. Mm-hmm. And I felt, especially in the second half of his career, because early on it was always, the Montana-Marino debate. Well, one is better, but the other's on a better team. Marino, everyone thought was more talented. Montana was on a better team. And the same thing with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. The vast majority of people thought Peyton Manning was better than Tom Brady, but Brady was more clutch and on a better team with a better coach. But then Brady did something. About halfway through, he started putting up Peyton numbers. So now the dude, or just about, so now the dude who's more clutch and on a better team is also putting up numbers that basically match the guy who's supposed to be more talented. So I agree with you, Victor. But just keep in mind, Joe Montana, there is a standard that Brady had to pass, was 4-0 in the Super Bowl, never lost. 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was perfect. And then when he went to Kansas City, the first year, because by the way, he didn't run Steve Young out of town. The franchise was left healthy and in good hands. So they won another Super Bowl in San Francisco, and he went to Kansas City and got him to the championship game. So it's not so Brady has surpassed the kind of lifetime and maybe even peak standard that Montana set. But not only is there Montana still to compete with if you do very poorly, if you go somewhere else, but there's the next guy who's going to come along.
I don't think he's competing. He went to 9 of them, Max. He went to 9. He lost 3, but he gave his team the opportunity to win the big game on the largest stage 9 times.
Yeah, ultimately,
and
I'm
won
with you.
6
I
of
agree.
them. Like, that's just, it's otherworldly when it comes to this position, especially when you're in those locker rooms like I was and just being there and understanding what it takes to win and what things have to go right and injuries and different things that have to take place in order for you to get there, let alone win it 6 times and get there 9.
Yeah, it's
I think
insane.
whatever he does now, it doesn't matter. The legacy's already imprinted. It's in stone.
I agree that the age, I call it the gravy years, because whatever you do good accrues to your greatness, and whatever bad happens, you're old. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
But I will say that, and that happens for a lot of athletes, I will say that in this case, because is it more Belichick or Brady? If Brady goes somewhere else and it is awful, and Belichick still has success.
If he doesn't, wherever he goes, if he doesn't have the supporting cast,
what if he does?
It's not going to matter. He can stay in New England and look like he would. If he was in Tennessee or New England or any other team, it would still look the same. It's just to be him in a different jersey.
Right, but what if he does get the help?
Then I still think he can play at a high level and get his team to the playoffs. And
what if you're wrong?
After that, then we'll see.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.